Hello, everyone. I hope your day is starting off as fantastic as it possibly can. And why wouldn't it be starting off fantastic? This day, July 1st, Canada's 158th birthday has arrived. So today, no graphs, no charts, no news articles, no doom and gloom, no analysis. Just a little bit of a heartfelt speech from me to you on this amazing centennial day of our fantastic country that we all live in. Now, I sense a new feeling of positivity and hope, and I was so sick of the doom and gloom echo chambers that seem to permeate everywhere in the media these days. You know, since the beginning of the year, I've made a conscious effort in my mind for everything that I do, everything that I buy, all the plans that I make. Anytime I contemplate where I'm going to go, where I'm going to spend my holidays, in my mind now, I'm always thinking, I choose Canada. And it all started because of the antagonistic position that the US administration has taken against our country. And when I talk about the hostility that's directed towards Canada from what used to be our friend down south, I'm not referring to Americans, I'm referring to America, which is led by someone who has no respect for our country. And you're probably wondering right now, why are you talking about them today on Canada Day? Well, it's because of this reason. I need to extend a big thank you to Donald Trump, the President of the United States. And hold on. Let me finish my thought here before you pass judgment. We all need to thank Donald Trump because he's done something to our country that hasn't been done before in our lifetime. And that is that he's galvanized our feeling of pride and patriotism. He has disgusted us so much that we are now unified as Canadians in a way that we've never been before. In fact, when I think back through my life, it was only when I was a little kid, I'll tell you the story. When I think I was in junior kindergarten or kindergarten, I can't even remember what levels of education they had back then. And I remember a particular day at school when all of us kids were brought to the gym and we had to bring our little towels. And we put our towels down and we sat on them. And all the other classes came to the gym. And there was hundreds of us sitting huddled in the middle of the gym. And then one of the teachers, the phys ed teacher, brought in a big TV on wheels. He brought the TV in, one screen not much bigger than the screen you're probably watching right now, on 6-foot high wheels, and he brought it in, plugged it in, and turned on the TV. And all the teachers of the school came down there and they sat around us, stood behind us and sat amongst the kids. And we watched something that I hadn't really seen before. There was two teams playing a game on ice, skating around. And one team looked like a bunch of robots. They were all dressed in red with these things on their heads. And the other team looked more human. They were wearing white shirts with a maple leaf on the front. And they all had long hair flowing behind them as they skated up and down the ice. And they were playing this game that I didn't really understand at the time. But when the team in white would skate down to the team in red side, all the teachers would start clapping and yelling, and they would say, shoot, shoot, shoot. But when the team in red skated down to the other end of the ice, all the teachers behind us were worried and they looked scared and they were like, no, please, no. And all of us little kids, we were watching the teachers and we were watching what was going on. And the bigger kids from the school, they were cheering and sometimes they were clapping and sometimes they were screaming. And as the littlest kids in the school, we were watching this and then we started watching the game too. And every time the team in white would put the puck in the net of the team in red, everyone would cheer. But that didn't happen very often in that game. The team of robots that were wearing those plastic red things on their heads, they put the puck in the white team's net more often. And as we watched for about an hour and a half, everyone in the gymnasium was feeling really sad and upset. And I could see that the teachers were frowning and they weren't very happy. And of course, all of us little kids, we were saying, oh, something bad's probably happening. Something bad is happening. Let's ask one of the big kids what's happening. Why is everyone so upset? And I remember one of the little kids in my class, one of the junior kindergarten kids, asking one of the bigger kids, what's happening? Why is everyone so mad? And he said to the classmate of mine, well, we're losing. There's only a minute and a half left and we're losing. We're going to lose the whole thing. And we were like, we're going to lose the whole thing. That's terrible. Canada's going to lose the whole thing. While we were watching that game, we figured out that it was a really big thing. It was Canada versus another country, a really big, bad country named the Soviet Union. And they were beating us, and there was only a minute and a half left. And then everything is a blur in my mind, what happened in that last minute and a half. But when I got older, I rewatched that last 5 minutes. And I watched how it unfolded in the last 45 seconds. When one of those guys wearing the white shirt went behind the net of that team of red robots and fought like a mongoose against one of those red helmet wearing robots. He kicked and scratched and fought along the boards behind the net. And while that was happening, there was another Canadian guy that was sitting at the Canadian bench screaming at his teammates, "Let me on! Let me on!" And one of his teammates on the ice that was near fainting from exhaustion heard him and sprinted. Didn't coast, sprinted to the boards to get off. And this Canadian guy named Paul jumped over the boards, his legs moving in the air before he even hit the ice. His mind was possessed, and he knew he had only one thing that he needed to do. He sprinted to the front of the Red Robots team's net, and this other Canadian that was fighting behind the net, without even knowing he was there, dislodged the puck from the red robot he was fighting and shoveled it. He didn't pass it. He shoveled it in front of the net. And Paul, who was possessed, who got there just in time, he didn't shoot. He slapped and whacked and lunged at it. And somehow he made contact with the puck and he smashed it into the net. That part was all a blur in my memory when I was a little junior kindergarten kid sitting on my towel in that gymnasium. I didn't remember that part until I saw it again when I was older. But I do remember in that gym all the teachers of the school who were usually very soft-spoken and polite and calm, jumping up and down, screaming. And all of us, we got up and danced around and twirled the towels above our head and jumped up and down and screamed and yelled in euphoria. How many of you are old enough to remember that day? That particular day in 1972, when Canada defeated the Soviet Union in that first hockey series that was played behind the Iron Curtain, when Canada represented the world, democracy, and defeated the communists. How many of you remember that day? And I can say for certain, I am completely sure, that on the days that followed that victory, everyone in Canada was galvanized in pride and patriotism, and we were one country. There were a lot of weird political things going on at the time. There was doom and gloom. There was rampant inflation. There was lots of things going on that weren't very positive in our country. But on that day, we were one country, and we would have all chosen Canada no matter what. That's the only occurrence in my lifetime that I feel that Canada was as galvanized as it is now. Now, at that time, it was because of a sporting event that triggered our emotions and our patriotism, and we were being represented by 20 Canadians that became our ambassadors and our heroes. But thanks to the president of the country just south of us, who has taken this antagonistic and hostile approach to our country, that feeling is back, and that feeling is even bigger. But this time, it's not about 20 guys playing hockey that are representing our country. This time, our team is a little bit bigger. This time, there's 40 million of us that are saying, "We choose Canada." And that's why I have to thank the guy who leads the country just south of us, because without him, we wouldn't be on this path. We have, by the fluke of history, had a fire lit under us now. And it's up to us now, all 40 million of us, to represent ourselves, just like those players did for us in 1972. Little things like, where are you going on holidays this year? You've got the itch to travel, you want to cross a border? Don't cross the southern border. Cross the border to the west of you, or to the east of you, or to the north of you. And if you live in Nunavut or Yukon, cross the border to the south of you. Travel and see what our great country has to offer, and keep our money within our borders. Circulate the wealth amongst ourselves. Don't give it away to a hostile neighbor. And I know there's probably some viewers that are watching this saying, who is that middle-aged man that likes to look at the ceiling and shout at the clouds while he thinks of what he's saying on the fly? And I tell you, well, I'm all in. I'm all in for Canada, and it's become my mission now to spread the word. And that's not an easy thing to do. I'll tell you what an easy thing to do is. An easy thing to do is to just be negative all the time and spew doom and gloom and negativity about everything that's in the news. I'd get more clicks, I'd grow my channel faster, and I'd create another echo chamber and entrap some vulnerable minds to follow me. That's easy to do. You don't have to have ideas or facts or visions to do that. And what I've discovered is, at least I believe, that the best way to counteract that negativity is not to fight against it and try and convince them of your point of view, but to use facts and logic and inspiration and try and spread the positive news. If given a chance, positivity will win. And of course, there will be people that will be skeptical and say, well, really, what can I do? If I go to the grocery store and buy a bag of apples that were grown in Canada instead of a bag of apples that were grown in that country south of the border, what difference does it make? And the ones grown in that country down south, they're 50 cents cheaper anyway. So does it really matter which ones I buy? And the answer to that question is, well, you're the only one that makes that switch. What's going to happen? Nothing. Nothing much will happen. In fact, if a dozen of us go to the store and we all buy a bag of Canadian apples instead of those apples from down south, what'll happen? Not much. Maybe we'll be able to get together and bake a dozen apple pies. But what about if 10 million Canadians go to the store and 10 million of us say, we want to buy those apples that are grown in Canada, and we're going to leave these ones that are grown down south on the shelf to go bad? Then what'll happen? Well, then we're all going to get a little bit more healthy because we're all eating more apples. And everyone knows an apple a day keeps the doctor away. But I'll tell you what else will happen is all the farmers and fruit growers from British Columbia and Southern Ontario will have the most historically great year they've ever had in their history. Their businesses will become more profitable, and maybe they'll be able to invest in more equipment to make their jobs easier for future years. Maybe they'll be able to hire more people, from the people that work in the fields picking the food for us to more specialized people that will figure out new horticultural methods to increase productivity and grow apples more efficiently. Maybe those farmers and fruit growers who were used to working 7 days a week for years as they just barely scrape by after having a real banner year, maybe they'll decide to take a break and go on a holiday. Maybe they'll go on a holiday somewhere in Canada. Maybe they'll show up in the province where you're from, and they'll spend some of that money that we gave them buying apples by buying things in your community when they're on holiday. Maybe they will redistribute the wealth within our own nation. Maybe they'll start a trend of all of us working together and growing our country together and choosing Canada. It's all connected. And it's true. It's true that individually, each of us won't make much of a difference. But if we all work together, we'll make a huge difference. There's nothing that can stop us if we all work together. So I hope your Canada Day festivities or your weekend or your week, whatever you're planning, ends up being fantastic and fun for you. And I hope you keep in the back of your mind the little inspirational speech that I tried to give you. I'd like to give you all a gift as well for Canada Day. A little bit of a surprise, and this is just for your enjoyment and fun. I've set up a Facebook group, an I Choose Canada Facebook group that you can go and visit and join. And the idea of the group is to spread positivity, patriotism, and pride, where you can post pictures of the people and the places that you visit in this country so that all of us as a community can enjoy that interaction. Our country's so beautiful and so big that it'll be impossible for anyone to see all of it in one lifetime. So why not share it amongst ourselves? And I've set up this Facebook group so that we can all do that. No politics, no charts, no analysis on that group, just a place to chill and share stories and post about the fantastic thing that is Canada. I'll leave the link in the video description and pinned to my comment on the top of the comment section. If you happen to be one of the many people who bought yourself an I Choose Canada merch item, I noticed that those things are really popular, and I really appreciate everyone who's picked one up. If it's arrived, if you have your mug or your shirt or your hat, your I Choose Canada hat, and you're out enjoying your holiday somewhere in our beautiful country, snap a selfie or snap some pictures and post it on the Facebook group page. Just a place to chill and enjoy. And for some of you who are less fortunate and maybe can't get around and enjoy some new scenery in our fantastic country, well, maybe you can live vicariously through some of the community members from this channel that might join that group. So have a fantastic rest of your day. Happy 158th birthday, Canada. Thank you all for watching, everyone. Subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content, and I will catch you all on the next one.